Hey guys, Chris Potter here, and today I'm going to be talking a bit about the healers that we ran for the last three bosses in Castle Nathria and why we made the changes that we did. So, Sludge Fist was the boss that we originally designed our whole healing comp around. We started progressing the boss with 3 shamans and 2 disc priests, and I'll explain exactly why we chose this comp and why we made the changes that we did by looking at the sheets that used to progress. So, let's have a look. So, on Sludge Fist, on progression, there were 2 huge damage events per phase, and those are the Chain Slam into Raw combos, and also the Impact into Soaking. So, I mean, that's when the boss charges the pillar. Everyone knows about that ability, I'm sure. For this reason, I wanted to take 2 Disc Priests, and that way we could Spirit Shell every single one. So you can see every Chain Slam, there's a Spirit Shell coming up. And for every impact, there was also a Spirit Shell. Spirit Shell, like you can see, this is after the impact, but it's for the raw after. In the end, we did actually swap this Spirit Shell to be earlier, so it was actually on the impact. You can see here that we also had something for the impact every time. So we had Barrier into Shell, Rally into Shell. So this was our original plan for the boss. And you can see that we were covering every dangerous combo with Spirit Shell. So that's why the 2 Disc Priests. And then like I said, they also brought barrier, so we could barrier 4 out of 5 of the charges, which is also really good. Dispriest also bring PI, which is great on bursting down the pillars. Helps the bursty classes get lots of damage into that damage increase, and it also brings its own passive DPS, which is pretty nice. So with the 2 Dispriests, it felt pretty good. We had all the big damage events covered nicely. We then brought 3 Resto Shamans, and the reason for the 3 Resto Shamans is basically just to heal the constant damage, the damage from the seismic shifts, and most importantly, with 3 Shamans, we can have a Spirit Link on every single Chain Slam as well. We always have a Spirit Shell and a Link on every one, which makes it super safe because we have the Spirit Shell, we know that in general the raid is fine. The only people that could be in real danger is the Chain Slam targets, the 4 people that are taking the Chain Slam. So by linking on every single one, we were making sure that basically no one could die on that. It was super, super safe. So how did this comp work out? Well, healing wise, it worked perfectly. We progressed the boss extremely quickly to the end of the fight due to this super safe setup. However, we were hitting the enrage of the boss when the boss charges into the wall, and we were still missing a couple of percent of boss health. It was around this time that we were realizing as well that Holy Paladin was actually blasting DPS while also keeping up with the healing. And this hadn't been our impression before. Our impression that it could blast DPS, but it couldn't blast DPS while really doing enough healing. So, seeing the huge damage we would gain by bringing a Paladin over a Shaman, we did decide to make the swap from Scaris' Shaman to his Paladin. We were now missing a Spirit Link on one of the Chain Slams, but we could substitute it with Bop and Ankh Totem to skip the Chain Slam. But yeah, the final comp we killed it with was 2 Disc, 2 Shaman, and a Holy Paladin, and it worked pretty nicely. I still really like the original 2 Disc and 3 Resto Shaman for staying alive. Everything felt perfect, like everything matched up perfectly. It was great. It was like when puzzle pieces sliding together. The only thing is we were missing a big chunk of damage that the Holy Paladin could bring. So yeah, that's what we gained by making the swap, and that's what we killed the boss with. So next we had Stone Legion Generals. This fight is very different from Sludge Fist healing wise. There's not a super high HPS requirement, but rather it's more about target selection. It's more about using personals properly, externals properly. Really, the fight was designed for DPS and not really for healers. Almost the entire difficulty of the fight was decided by how the DPS use their DPS cooldowns and like what ads they target and when. And we knew going into this boss that it was not going to be great for disc, so we had already anticipated that at least one of the priests were going to go holy here, and that's what we were going to do. Ultimately, however, it turned out that G flogging his shaman was just more useful than his holy priest, even though his priest was better geared, and we were trying to kind of keep a gear on his main. But yeah, in the end, he logged his shaman. It made more sense because having 3 Shamans allowed us to really easily live this Goliath Soul Taint Effigy, aka the immune to healing effect, because we could Spirit Link on every single one. The Spirit Link was so good on this boss. Ankh Totem and Ancestral Vigor were also really good for this boss for saving people from deadly combos. You have Ravenous Feast, Wicked Blades, the Shockwave Soaking. So yeah, there are lots of like deadly combos that can happen at the same time. You have the healing immune with Wicked Blade, you have the healing immune with something else, with Heartrend expiring, etc. etc. So yeah, Shaman really good for this fight. That's why we ran 3 of them. Then we obviously brought the disc. It was doing, spirit shells here and there. The disc wasn't really essential to the boss. We didn't need spirit shell anywhere. We didn't really need the disc. We could have brought a Shadow Priest, but the thing is that Shadow Priest sucks. So that's why you didn't want for that boss. For that boss, Shadow Priest sucks, especially on progress. So we didn't want to bring a Shadow Priest. So we just brought a disc priest anyway. But if let's say Shadow Priest was really good on that boss, then we wouldn't really have needed a disc priest. We didn't need anything particularly from disc. It's more that we needed a priest for grip and for the stamina buff. And Paladin on this boss was just doing really good as well, pumping good damn. Like I said before, this boss was really about DPS. So having more DPS to kill the ad trigger made the healing easier. And Bop was really good. You could save some combos with Bop, and Devo was just nice. So yeah, Paladin also good on this fight. Definitely a good Shaman and Paladin fight. So yeah, we killed the boss, 1 priest, 1 pally, 3 Shaman. So lastly, we had Side Denathrius. So the thing with Side Denathrius is that the fight was really not too difficult HPS wise, especially phase 1 and phase 2. We brought 4 healers, 1 disc, 1 pally, and 2 shamans. And really, the fact that we also brought DKs with that anti-magic zone made everything pretty easy. I'm telling you, anti-magic zone this tier was just really strong on lots of fights. So yeah, because we brought the 4 DKs, it didn't really matter exactly. It didn't really matter what healing comp we bought really in terms of phase 1 and phase 2. We saw some of phase 3 before the weekly reset. We were getting some good progress. We were maybe getting to, I can't remember exactly. I want to say like 12% or something before the reset, maybe 10%. We were getting pretty far in. And then obviously the reset came. And with the reset, this was our chance to kind of reevaluate, did we want to make some comp changes? Because we had been getting that far into phase 3, we could then see that we could see exactly what the blood price timings were. And we could see that if we brought another paladin or another warrior, we could Devo and rally every blood price in the melee group in the last phase. So you can see here on the sheet, blood price 1, we had Devo, blood price 2, we had Devo, blood price 3, we had rally. As well as that, it would also bring some more damage, as we already gone over earlier, bring in extra paladin. Really added a lot of damage, so we decided to bring another pally. Velo Shaman went out and we brought in Jeeves Paladin. That's right, Jeeves played then a 3rd different character on this boss. But we basically always kept Paladins prepared. We knew all along that something could happen where Paladins actually ended up insane and we just oversaw it. So on Heroic Week even, we were still maintaining 3 extra Paladins, always having them ready. In the end, it did pay off, as you can see, as we ended up with 2 Paladins in on the last boss. And yeah, having that extra Devo and having the extra DPS was really nice, and we ended up killing the boss with 1 disc, 2 Paladins, and a Shaman. I think overall we adjusted well to each boss. I would say our original comp that we intended to take for Sludge Fist did do its job well. Our only mistake really was just underestimating how well Holy Paladin could do damage and healing at the same time. And most importantly, how much better it was than Disc. I had kind of estimated that with PI, Disc really wouldn't be that far behind Paladin, but even when you calculate PI in, there was still like a noticeable gap in their damage, right? Paladin, Venfe Paladin to be exact, was still doing significantly more DPS. So yeah, we did underestimate that, and in hindsight, we probably should have had 1 Paladin planned from the very start. I hope this video helped you guys to understand why our healing comp changed so much throughout the last 3 bosses and maybe gave you some cool insight into our thought process. Make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.